We saw Parliament actually supporting the general principle of the deal. So why did they not want to fast track it?
Well, Sherry, MPs just felt very uncomfortable with fast-tracking a 115-page document that will change the course of British history. They say it wasn't enough time to scrutinize and really look through how the impact of this Brexit deal will be on the UK economy. So while he did win a bit of a victory in the sense that he was able to get the deal through, whether or not MPs agreed in principle on it, they weren't okay with the fast-track amendment. Now, going into this vote, Boris Johnson said if they were going to vote down the fast-tracking of the bill, that he was going to push for a general election and actually scrap the bill in its entirety. But that wasn't what happened. And for me, that was the biggest takeaway of tonight's very dramatic events. He struck this conciliatory tone and basically said he would go back to the EU. And we've already heard from Donald Tusk, who said he would recommend that the EU extend Brexit, extend the delay. So likely we're looking at possibly a January 31st delay. We'll probably get that news tomorrow.
Annmarie, 3 months, 2-3 months is a long time in Brexit time. What's the potential for what could happen in the next few months?
Yeah, well, this is the big question. Does Boris Johnson use those next 3 months to work on getting this deal passed through Parliament, or does he try to push for a general election, which either way he can come back with a majority and get the deal through exactly how he wants, or he could potentially lose his power to the opposition, the Labour Party? The big question is what would happen in these next 3 months is the amendments. What's likely what we can see is MPs bringing forth amendments like keeping the UK in the customs union or wanting a second referendum, basically a referendum on this deal to the people. And this is something that, I don't think Boris Johnson would be able to swallow. And in that sense, he would probably, again, try to scrap the bill and push for a general election. So I think the simplest answer is right now it's all on pause, but yet we have another delay. I think the pound is quite significant watching this. I mean, we're trading around this 129 area, but most FX strategists still see the pound popping to the 130s. The pound has been this Brexit sentiment barometer, and the likelihood of these FX traders say that the UK will crash out is not really an issue anymore. So time will tell, but it's looking likely that, at least for now, the UK will not be crashing out and there won't be this chaotic Brexit.
Given how fractured UK politics is at the moment, do we have any idea what a snap general election would result in?
That's a really good question. Boris Johnson is actually leading in the polls, so he could potentially, and it's one reason why he's been pushing for a general election, he could potentially win a majority. But you have to remember, the country is still divided from the 2016 referendum. Sitting outside the House of Commons, you had about equal number of Remain protesters as Leave protesters there tonight. And when either party won the vote, you heard huge roars from them. And on Saturday, thousands of protesters marched on Parliament for asking for a people's vote. So the public is very much divided, but it does look like Boris Johnson does have a lead in the polls. He could potentially get that majority if there was going to be a snap election.